Yeah.
Please, May, can you tell me
Okay.
this story about what happened for your family
Okay, when
in the Titanic?
okay, when my uncle knocked at her
From
door.
from the
and said,
beginning.
Get dressed immediately, dress the baby immediately, don't even pack.
Yeah.
He said, get ready to go up. He took her up on the upper deck of the ship, and when they got her there, they put my mother right in the lifeboat without her baby. She started crying for her baby in Arabic. You know, she couldn't speak English at the time. And what they did, they pushed her back on the boat again. My uncle then, in the meantime, he walked over to the next boat over, handed the baby to a Mrs. McKenzie, and told her, please take care of this baby until you get help from another ship. The lady says, fine, there's no problem. So when they got on, my mother was in the water about 4 hours before the Carpeta picked them up. Another ship picked them up.
Yeah.
And my mother now is state of shock because she saw all these people jumping down off the boat. 1,700 people went down on that boat ship.
Yeah.
1,700. There was 750 saved. And they saved the women and children first, you know. And lots of women and children went down. The poor people, very poor people, they went down with the water. You know, they couldn't save them.
They
were
don't have
down
money.
in the basement. So anyway, when they picked my mother, she was instead of shocked with all that she saw, all these people dying and everything, they had to put her in a net to put her in the next boat, you know, the next ship, I mean.
Yeah.
So they got her into New York City 4 days later. They put her in the St. Vincent Hospital. My father, in the meantime, had the wholesale here. He went to New York constantly to bring her home. They wouldn't let her out until she was completely better. Then finally, when she got back to her senses again, she went to, they said to her, now you have to identify your baby. Now, she hasn't seen her baby all that time. All these babies were all lined up, but she had the blanket on that their grandfather and grandmother, my grandfather, grandmother put on her.
Yes.
And that's how she identified her baby. He was only 3 months old.
Mm-hmm.
He lived, I have to show you the funeral, because that you like to see.
I have pictures.
Well, anyway, he died when he was 21 years old, my brother, the one that was 3 months old, from pneumonia.
Mm-hmm.
So, they had a big funeral in St. George's Church.
Mm-hmm.
All the girls, I have to get it, I don't know where when they moved here, when I came back home, they moved everything. I have to look for it.
Yeah,
I'm going to show it, but one day I want to show
if
you.
you have a book, I'd like to see it.
I heard you were leaving.
Yeah. Let me introduce yourself. How old are you?
Huh?
How old are you?
I'm
Now.
92 years old.
92 years
I'll
old.
be
God
93
bless.
next month.
Next month. God bless you.
But I worked with also with Danny Thomas, you know, the comedian. I did charity work with him, with the hospital.
Yeah.
I worked with him 32 years, making money for him because they were starting to. My cousin John Thomas C. Thomas went down to California, and Danny Thomas was entertaining that night. He came. He says, Tommy said to the maitre d', he says, when Danny Thomas finishes, tell him to come to our table. So he came to the table and he says, Danny says, where he was from Lebanon, his mother, his parents and all.
Yes.
He said, I came to America and I said to myself, if I make if St. Jude helps me make my way in life, he says, I will do something worthwhile in America. And he built that St. Jude Hospital.
Yes.
And he says, do you know anybody up north that could be a good person to go, make money? He says, my uncle said he'd name me. Because I had a store, in town. I was, I was acquainted with all the manufacturers and all that
Yes.
stuff. I was able to get money from them. And plus, the kids collected from door to door. And I went with them. I went to all the ducks chased me all the time. But, collecting with them.
Interested.
I made a lot of money. The last check I gave him with the collecting from door to door,
Yeah.
$21,000.
God bless you.
And then, of course, he died after that.
God bless you.
So I did it for 32 years. I said, I'm getting older now. I can't do any more, And then Johnny died. Johnny Thomas died. I said,
Yeah.
because I worked with him too,
I'm going
I
to
says-
say mass for him
Yeah.
on Sunday because he
I have all his. I have
good
all,
money for the church.
I have all those pictures here. But anyway, as I told you, but I want you to see that funeral, because never saw anything like it. All the girls were all in white with big baskets of flowers in front of St. George Church.
Yes.
And Father Solomon was the priest at the time from Scranton.
Oh my gosh.
You know? So anyway, but I'll tell you, I can't ever remember that my mother didn't. The first 2 years that she was here, she never spoke about her experience. But then after she was getting up, she started to talk. This is what I want to tell you. 50 years later, we were invited to Washington, D.C. There was thousands of people there.
Keep
thousands.
going. Let me take also the pictures here. I'm hearing you.
Yeah. See the picture in the middle? There.
Yeah, this is Titanic. This your father and your mom?
That's my uncle.
Your
Charles.
uncle. And up is your dad?
Yeah, that's Thomas's father.
Thomas' father, yeah.
That's when I was 90 years old. They had a birthday party for me.
God bless you.
There's Danny Thomas over there, the father.
All their family?
Over there. No, next room. The next room.
Next.
No, over there.
Here?
I got plaque for the work I did for St. Jude.
Oh yes. Let me also
I got another plaque from there too.
take this picture here. Will be.
Wish I knew where that.
This I will put it on the Facebook.
I want you to have
The
that
people
picture
will
of
be
the-
happy to
the
hear.
church, you know.
To hear you.
No, we do. But anyway, after she came home, and like I said, one day this reporter was watching TV, the Today Show from New York. And who was on that show but the lady my uncle handed the baby to? Guess what? They got
What?
the two women together after 50 years.
Wonderful.
We found out who the lady
Wonderful.
was.
Oh, that's
So she
amazing.
wrote to me. I wrote to her all the time. Well, she lives in California. So I wrote to her all the time she was down there. And then she met my sister Margie, you know.
Yeah.
All my whole family's gone now.
They passed away.
All my brothers and sisters are gone.
It's not easy.
And my mother and father. So like I said, I had a good life.
This your father and your mom?
Yeah.
The picture? Just let
And
me
then
take.
see, I'm
Father and
That's
mother
my
of
mother
May
and father.
Thomas. Yeah.
And
yes.
then there I am, there where I tell about the
Titanic.
all experiences. I go all over. I was going all over.
Yes.
All the
This
historical
yours.
places. So I mean, like
It's an amazing story, believe me.
I intend to continue with the, tell about my mother's experiences. I could take this with me and walk, to the podium and tell about the experiences. But I'll tell you something.
We were very
I
happy
put
when we
that
hear you.
up there. That painting, I put that up there.
This what?
Yeah. Took me 8 hours.
This did you do it yourself?
I did all that, yeah.
Oh my God.
I brought it in from, I bought, see, my father had a home up in the Poconos, the Bakesley Quarters, and he had a business up there too. And that reminded me of that, the background of our place where we lived, So I'm telling, now I can't go up the steps at all.
It's amazing, believe me.
No, I have to wait. I did a lot of work. I mean, I told you, I had a good life. I never got married because I was busy. My brothers and sisters got married and they all left, and I took care of my mother. But like I told you, after you get older, I'm not interested anymore. You know what I mean? But she depended on me for everything. I took care of her. I really did. But she died from a broken heart when my second brother